organization, I mean, any corporation's going to reorganize is to limit their liabilities. That only makes good business sense.
I would not accept the premise that that's the only reason the company.
Not the only reason. It's also on the profit side too. But
well, no. But I mean, sometimes you have business units that just don't fit together, or there's reasons to reorganize.
Yeah, but it's all based upon whatever those reasons are. The bottom line, it's all about whether or not you're going to make money, and you only make money when you limit your liabilities to impede that.
I think you make money when you sell a good at a price that people will pay.
I think we're saying the same thing.
No, no. With all due respect, I don't think we are. I think that I would not accept the premise that the only way corporations make money is by limiting their liability.
No, I'm not suggesting that. They do two things at once. They reorganize so that they can best position themselves to be profitable. No, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. And they reorganize themselves to limit their liabilities. Those things go hand in hand.
Yeah, I guess that's
that's good business sense.
Well, I mean, I would just say that that's a possible outcome of a reorganization. And our job, if there is a change in that liability or that value equation, it's our job to amend our position.
So here's my big question to you. Okay.
There's a bigger question.
Oh yeah, there's a biggie coming. Yeah, there's a biggie coming. And so the big question to you is that seeing the track record of what we've all gone through down the highway with this plant, the increasing number of what I'll call mechanical mishaps or failures, the leaks, the cooling towers, and they seem to be coming quicker and in shorter periods of time. The new or the exposed culture of mistruths, misstatements, lying, deceit, whatever you want to call it. The attempt, my words, to reorganize into a new corporation that further separates the company, the mother company, with the resources possible to cover whatever may happen at this plant. My big question to the administration or to the department is, what would it take? Where is the line in the sand? What would it actually take to happen for you guys to say enough?
There's no way to answer that question or predict a circumstance where that would exist. From our perspective, the reliability audit was a linchpin in looking at the reliability of the plant. And that the reliability audit found that the plant can operate for an additional 20 years reliably. There are...
With asterisks.
I was going to get to that. That there are things that had to be done or satisfied out of that report for the plant to remain reliable. So from a sort of mechanical standpoint, that's how I view that issue being addressed. And an ongoing role, both at the state level and most importantly at the NRC, to oversee the operation of the plant. That's how I would characterize, or we would characterize, the mechanical consideration, the reliability, and ultimately the safety under the NRC. For us to consider the ongoing relationship, the things I alluded to earlier in terms of bringing things into balance and marrying or balancing out interests, need to be present. And independent of what's happened in the last month or 2 months, that is where we've been all along. If you look at what we've stated to the Public Service Board, we don't support extending the operation because we don't have a power deal that we believe in or can agree to. We do not have satisfaction on decommissioning. So until those things are, independent of what's happened in the last month, until those value equations are resolved, we wouldn't support continued operation independent of what the legislature may choose to do.
And that's your official, I believe that's your official position.
That's
what's filed at the board.
Months and months.
And that hasn't changed yet.
That has not changed. And, you know, if the company, and I alluded to this up front, if the company had chosen to come forward and be more proactive and reasonable when it comes to negotiating both elements, the the opportunity's been there to resolve these issues on power supply and decommissioning, and it just hasn't happened. That's been their choice. You know, that's just the way it is. And as I said, until those circumstances change, we're not going to be comfortable with the dynamic, no matter how they view it from their side of the fence.
Okay, so go back to the line in the sand. We're 2 years away from their license expiring.
Well,
if this goes on and on and on, at what point you tell the utilities you got to cut it, or fish or cut bait at this point and find other.
I don't have the answer to that question sitting here today. I want to offer one other variable that's new, given what's happened in the last month, and that is the very real presentation to us and the state of Vermont that this company recognizes where they've gone wrong and that those things are going to be corrected, and it's not what we can expect in the future. And that organizationally they take the steps to do that. And it's very clear they haven't done it yet. It's on them. If they don't, we don't have a future together.
But you know what that looks like?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think I do.
I would only want to add that there's no point that we have to tell the utilities to go out and start looking for other power.
Right.
They're already
Yeah,
out there. They did
right.
an RFP,
Right.
both GMP and CB,
Right.
because they've already had to start looking for that, because this
They can't
plant
wait.
is up in the air. They
Right.
cannot continue to wait.
Right.
And I want to add again, and it just strikes me that given the fact that I would view the operation of the plant as something that can happen reliably into the future, that I'm personally, and I think this administration feels strongly that we don't want to abandon either the employment involved, the fiscal effect to the state, or the power supply in our overall strategy until we absolutely have to. And as Sarah alluded to, that does not mean that we don't take the steps that we need to contingency plan. The utilities have a very simple requirement in the statute that says obligation to serve.
Right.
And they have to be very prudent about managing any of those uncertainties. And I can tell you that independent of relicensing, we've been telling them for years that there's a simple risk here of a single piece of equipment that can fail at some time or another and stop offering power. And so that's a risk that you would have to manage regardless of whether or not you relicense the plant. And we've seen them start to take those steps, whether it's with insurance or sourcing other power resources. We want a diverse portfolio here. We don't want to be in a place. The one thing I really wanted to achieve in the time I've been here is to get away from the one-third,
Right.
to a whole lot of fifths and sixths,
Right.
so that we don't look at any one decision with this sort of weight
Right.
involved.
Right. Tim.